first item on the agenda is item A, minutes. Is there any amendments or corrections to our minutes?
Make a motion, minutes be accepted as presented.
Have a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is our accounts. There's no vote required. If you anyone in the audience have any question on our accounts, please give us a page and a line item number.
Not necessarily a question, it's the top of number 48, you're paid to have the traffic controller 45 and 100 reprogram. That just made me want to mention, a couple of people mentioned to me that it seems like the timing and stuff is all on the sensors at White Avenue and Main Street. That you can be sitting there on coming up on White and it doesn't. There's no traffic on Main, but it doesn't seem to trip. I don't know what the problem with that is, Carl.
We can help Brian check that out. I think the one in Mifflin, Maine, also has that problem, sometimes taking a long time to change when there's no traffic.
Program because it's up here. I go to Jackson, places like that. You set a red light for 10, 15 minutes, so I run the light to
Well, I noticed in Mifflin and Maine, people are starting to run. So that's dangerous when you got people actually won't sit there.
It cost me $10 in gas sitting there waiting for the light to go.
You got it.
Are there any other questions on the accounts? Okay. Next item on the agenda is delegations. Is there anyone here who would like to address the board on any issue concerning the city? Okay. Next item is item D. Consider the action on the ordinance amending the regional zoning ordinance to allow wineries that are use permitted on appeal in the FAR, Forestry Agriculture Residential District. Before we open the public hearing, Grant, won't you tell us what this is entailed? I don't think it's as much as whatever some people have asked.
Yes, we got a request from Stillwater Farms, Miss Valerie out there, about doing a winery or a farm winery at her location. And that's off of Tally Store Road out in the county. She first went to the county planning commission and then found out it was in our jurisdiction, brought it to our regional planning commission. They looked at her plan that she was trying to develop there to have on-site wine to sell what she's produced at her site. Basically, she will have to go through ABC to get the licensing correctly for that location. And after looking at the regulations, whether it could be a use permitted or a use permitted on appeal, the planning commission felt like a use permitted on appeal would be the best route to go. That way, somebody that wants to put in the FAR zone, a winery or a farm winery can appeal this to the Board of Zoning Appeals. They can look at basically what their plan is and how they have their layout set up, and then contingent upon it passing ABC, they could have a winery at that location.
All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing up for anybody who'd like to discuss pro or con on this ordinance. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and turn it over to the board order.
Are they doing that just in selling the grapes to someone to make a wine, or is he going to wines will be made here, or?
I'm not 100%, but I know that a farm winery, I believe 95% of what's produced has to be grown on site. So there's a little bit of a difference between a farm winery and a winery. I think you can take, one of them takes it to another place, has it produced, bottled, and can bring it back and sell it there. One can do everything on site, from growing it, producing it, and selling it on their site. So I'm not 100% sure which way she's going, but this would be the first step in letting her go before the ABC, who regulates this in the state of Tennessee, to basically see if she can put that at that location. She has to meet all the state requirements, plus what the Board of Zoning Appeals would put. From a standpoint of zoning, there's just a few things that we can do based on what she's doing is commercial, some signage, area for parking, those type of things.
Sure.
Yeah. And then ABC handles everything to do with advertising locally, how much you can grow, how much you can sell, everything that's done from that standpoint, sale and manufacturing.
From what I understand, still going to answer part of your question, is she is growing her own grapes as well. So, and processing on site. So that was my last understanding.
Are they gonna be able to sell it at the location?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is allowing her to go forward, and then she could bottle it and sell it. She's got like a store or something, she could sell it. And then maybe have taste testings and stuff like that on site. So.
Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't what this ordinance does is allow them to grow a winery on site? And it's ABC as far as any making of wine and selling of wine, right?
And they would regulate all that.
This just lets them ask for it.
This just has some ask for it and
That's
then.
correct. We don't regulate anything other than this looks like enough parking for you, this is a big enough room, you've got the exits like you should, everything is marked. It's more of ours is more of a life safety than regulating how they do wine.
That's what I thought, I was not sure we understood.
Right, I believe anybody in the state of Tennessee can grow grapes and make wine on their own property.
Right.
When you get into selling it,
It's a
that,
store.
then you have to be licensed with the state of Tennessee. And then you can sell at that location.
So this just asks the question, do we allow her to move forward with that?
I think that is, and if she gets passage by ABC and satisfied the Board of Zoning Appeals, she will be able to grow grapes, make wine, and provide it there at that location. Is my understanding.
I certainly would make a motion that we move forward with allowing her to, in essence, move forward with her application to the ABC board or the ABB board. And then I guess once it's done, they will, our zoning appeals will look at parking and that sort of thing. So I'd say,
It's kind of the chicken or the egg. This is
Yeah.
our first one that we're going through, so we're leaning pretty heavy on ABC.
Right.
Which they're gonna get the licensing part of it.
right,
We're gonna try to stay exactly in our lane of what we can and can't do.
right,
Ours is basically, they will come and pay a fee to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals.
right.
They will look at their plan and determine if that plan is adequate to handle what they're trying to do there.
Okay.
ABC will be the one who does licensing, anything to do with quantities. I think you've got to keep records for several years
Oh,
of
sure.
what you've done, how much, basically where it went, and the tax revenue based on what was sold.
Well, she runs a nice business there, and I think she's up for that challenge. But I would make the motion that we approve this ordinance.
Have a motion to approve the ordinance amending the zoning ordinance to allow wineries under permitted on appeal. Was it
Second.
a second? Is there any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Manis?
Yeah.
All voted in favor.
Since all voted in favor, I can entertain a motion on the second reading.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, roll call vote.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Manis?
Yes.
All voted in favor.
Okay, ordinance passes. Next item on the agenda is item E, adopt a resolution authorizing the application of the FY 2022 Community Development Block Grant for a fire pumper truck. The total project cost will be $424,000, $424,738, with a local matching funds of $63,711. Chief?
When we come to y'all first time, it was like $350. Well, the tools on this gonna be like $25,000 to make it a Class A pumper. Giving us a little cushion because this is gonna be probably August before we even, or next year before we even get this thing. So I'm not sure how much it's gonna go up, but if we don't go, say if it's $390,000, we still don't, it changes our percentage. We don't have to spend the whole amount. This is just a buffer, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. If it goes over that,
Can we back up just a little bit? Catch me up. Are you confused? I'm a little confused.
we can come to y'all, well, Melissa come down and talk to y'all too about it. We was asking for this development grant to purchase a pumper, which will help supply our ladder area right now. Right now, we're only buying like 1,000 gallons a minute, and this pumper would give us 1,500 gallons per minute.
You originally asked for,
350. That was just the pumper itself.
okay,
And the tools that go on it that we will have to buy, which we can buy through the grant, and won't be as, what I'm trying to say. The tools is gonna cost us about $25,000.
so now that's $375,000.
You're saying the excess.
But that's without air packs. Air packs is went up to $10,000 a piece, and we would have to have 4 on that. But we will try to, over time, purchase that with our own budget.
Of course, we won't know the exact cost of the truck, till we spec the truck and what year it is, and the supply out there is going to vary in cost. So basically, they're asking for a little cushion in their request. Our match will still be 15%.
Okay.
No matter
So
what it is.
we're up to 415, but you're talking about 424 is your cushion, right?
Yeah.
So you're
But we
talking-
still 15% is one of whatever that
Right,
number
right.
is.
So you're saying, Greg, it's gonna cost, you think it will run us $415,000 with all the equipment on it, correct?
As of today.
Right. And so we're asking for the total project cost is $424, that's about $9,000 plus dollars.
Just guessing here, the development district charges administration fee on this grant, so there's also a cost involved with that. So that may be the rest of the difference.
Okay.
So,
What happens if it comes in higher than what we're thinking?
then he's gonna be coming back and asking you to cover the total cost of whatever it runs over.
So we would be the 63,711 plus the overage.
Any
So,
of
well, with community block grants, community block, let me kind of explain where we're at, and I'll say how you put it. We've done, since I've been here, we've done 2 community block grants. We've done the community block grants for home improvement, remember we did building homes and stuff like that. The county has always used their community block grants to do exactly what he's asking to do. They've done theirs for fire trucks. They've done bumpers and everything else. This year, and then also community block grants, we applied in the past for some community block grants. I don't think we applied for wastewater one year.
Yeah, we done wastewater.
Wastewater, we didn't get it. This year with the TDEC money on wastewater and water, they are not letting anybody apply for that wastewater and water during the cycle, because they said, if TDEC's got the money over there, that's where you need to go get some money for wastewater and water. She's telling me that she advised us this year, if you're gonna get a fire truck, this is your best shot at getting a fire truck. Because we applied before trying to get a fire truck, never got one. We've done this, I know, a couple of times.
Well, through FEMA, we apply every year.
Every year through FEMA, we applied every year through FEMA, never got one. Now, that was a 5% match. I think the FEMA went in 5% match on FEMA.
That's right.
We used to apply every year for FEMA, never did get one. But this year, their advice is if you're gonna apply for a lumber truck, this would be your year to take a shot at. And to be honest with you, we might not get one this year. Because I'm sure everybody else is gonna do the same thing we're doing in the cities. But most of the time, the counties have better look at getting them because of their ISO ratings and things like that. So this is our year to apply. You can apply up to $500,000.
Well, no, I just wanted to know if we might have to pay the overage.
Yes, there is an overage, yes.
Well, we could pay that out of some of our ARP money that we don't commit and stuff, so I'm with the mayor. I think this is the year we go through with this. Do you need a motion to?
Motion to approve the resolution to apply.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion to approve the resolution. Do I have a second? Second. A second. Any further discussion on the motion? If I can say, Jim, I hate to put you on the spot and ask you for a betting man, but what do you say our odds are?
50-50.
Yeah.
That's pretty good odds than what it used to be.
Yeah, probably.
Before I told you 80-20.
So when we're thinking about our ARPA money, 60 over to 70,000, maybe we should kind of put over here to the
Set
side.
aside from some source, whether it's
Some source.
somewhere else.
And to be honest with you, it could also be, it most likely will not be, and it'd be tough getting the budget, next year's budget. Because if I remember right, if I remember what the counties have been going through lately, they've been getting awarded the grant, and it's been almost over 12 months for some of them even get their trucks ordered to be paid.
A lot of these trucks, they're built after the order is placed, and it can be anywhere between 9 to 18 months back before everything else happened. So now I have no idea.
That's where we are about everything we purchased now. Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, this is a resolution.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yes.
Mr. Manus?
Yes.
All voted in favor.
Okay, next item on the agenda is item F, discuss and consider awarding the best bid received on the mowing for the city cemetery. Carter?
As we know, we've always used turf accession. So this time we only got one bid, and it was from turf accession, and it was $900, the same as what they've been cutting for.
Wow. That's lucky.
I make a motion, we accept that bid.
Now, motion set the bid, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. All opposed signify no. I think that was one everybody's glad to get that gone quick. All right, next item on the agenda, discuss and consider the purchase of a new plotter scanner for the GIS department. This machine, as you know, is got several years of age, and as a matter of fact, you can't get it, cannot be repaired.
Yes, sir. We have a plotter that we use with GIS map making, zoning, doing stuff for the parks. We've used it for a little bit of everything. It's a large format printer, 3 feet wide, what it will print. I believe we got that 15 years ago through 911. Somehow we ended up with it, to put it that way. It served us well for 15 years. The other day it had a scrap iron pit, and talking to the people that work on it, the parts are obsolete. They said they could spend money and try to put it back together, but couldn't guarantee anything. So they gave us 3 or 4 different sets of machines to look at. We've done this kind of like we've looked at the others. Some of them we had one that was probably too small, one that really had a lot of stuff we didn't need. Then we got it down to 2, basically a machine like we had. And this one has a scanning function and a printer, plotter. So it does way more than what our old one ever did. We're looking at taking this and hopefully we can use some of the old plans to get those scanned to where we can get those out to in the field where they're needed digitally, rather than having people come back and forth to the map room, search for them, and try to lay them out and determine what they've got. And we're hoping, knock on wood, that we can get this done. We believe this machine will do that for us.
I love the functionality of this machine.
Our others could copy something that we could put to it digitally, but if we had this piece of paper,
Yeah.
if it wasn't digital, we couldn't run it through there.
Yeah.
We'll have that option now. We can also run that piece of paper through there, scan it to a digital file, email it, attach it to a text, a lot of different things.
That'll
we
be
can do.
so helpful.
Even just storage of it.
Yes. Has it got a lot of storage? You didn't mention that.
I don't think it has particularly here, but I think it's got a thumb drive. You can plug it in and do whatever you want to, download it directly to that.
Do you think this is one that'll last us 15 years, or do we need to suit it up a little longer?
If it lasted, this is probably the best one that they showed us. It's probably not the most expensive one. There was one that was made out of stainless steel, and I think it was for more exterior type work if you were on the construction site. But for the money, this is a little higher than the one that would just print, but I think the added options would put it to good use.
Rick, what's the cost of it?
65.
So publicly, we know what the cost is when we do them. If we figure out what to do at the motion, we need to put a figure of what we're doing.
I'd like to make a motion that we buy the HP DesignJet T830 multifunction printer at the cost of $6,575.
We do need to move some money around in the GIS budget in order to cover this. We have it in the GIS budget. We have $2,000 in equipment purchase, so we'll use that first. We have $8,000 in mapping maintenance.
Right.
So I will need to move the other $45,75 from mapping maintenance down to equipment purchase in order to cover this.
So you asking her to amend her motion?
Yes, I am.
So in order to purchase this, we do realize that we will have to move money from GIS mapping to equipment purchase. And I would also like to say that we need to make sure that we make that budget amendment with this motion.
Have that motion. Do we have a second? Second. Have a second. You got it, Jim?
Got it.
All right. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Good.
The next item is item H, business. We have a budget meeting on just the general budget on March the 17th at 5 o'clock. Am I correct, Jim?
Yes.
5 o'clock, and we'll see there, we'll go, I think our attention there is to try to finish up with the general budget. And so hope to see everyone there. We'll have some besides pizza, I promise.
All right, I like it.
Okay. Chief, you got something?
Yes, I just want to make you aware that we're closely monitoring our fuel cost. We have a potential of going over that line item, depending on what happens with fuel cost. We have made we've implemented some procedures in the police department, like we've asked our officers not to let their cars idle as much. When staffing allows, we're going to double up riding. So I'm trying to stay in my budget, but we have a potential going over.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We'll let everybody know that the skid steer that we ordered back in July came in yesterday, and
the person that's gonna do the training and things like that's been in school all week. We'll be able to get that up and running and start doing some, right-of-way work on the sewer lines and things like that, so that we can hopefully find some of the failed areas, reduce some I-9. Other thing is, we did get the Delta grant for the Highway 45 project, more under the highway there, close to Lonnie Cobb Ford, doing the fire protection. And, fire hydrants and things on the other side of the road, and we're working, I guess we've got to get the final documents from, RDA, and then when we get those, then we'll go to the engineer and start the actual final design project. So far, it's just a scope of project, a budgetary estimate, and, other items, we did get the sewer line that ran under Gray Hall. We got that line. They were renovating that building, had to have some additional taps to accommodate that renovation, and given the age of the sewer line, the location, and the difficulty of trying to move it, we just, we went forward with lining that. That project went very well. Served us for many, many years and solved a lot of problems for us. And the other thing is we put one of the big areas that we got from Trenton in the south of there. We got our area that failed there, and then we're in the process of, putting the other ones in the north. Like before, and actually it's summertime, we traditionally have dissolved oxygen problems. That's about it.
Any update from T-Dot and their engineer on West Main and the hotel and that sort of thing? I know we waited a bit on him.
Haven't heard anything, and we've looked at the proposal that we were looking at was going down the power line, existing power line right of way to a manhole on South Church. And looking at elevations, we're going to be running out of the ground where that blue line stream is and all that. There's no way they're going to let us block that, so we'll have to have a top of Jim, and we looked at that last week, and we'll have to have a pumping station there, probably pump it back up to Main Street, West Main.
All because of crawdads? Yeah, good crawdads.
I'm just gonna give you an update on our generator. They tell me it's gonna ship next week, and hopefully 7 days they should receive it, and after 7 days they will schedule a time for us to have it installed.
Only thing I had, we did receive our flail more today, and also I talked back before, that they said it would be the 1st of April before they would do the payment. That's all.
We're still on their list, bro. Here. Yeah.
We have our, I guess, quarterly blood drive tomorrow here at City Hall from noon until 6.
Which? Kendra?
I have one thing. Tim, you mentioned something about changes with our the truck we'd ordered for the police department. Where do we stand on that now?
Yes, sir. The pickup that we ordered in our last budget, or in the current year budget, it was manufactured, we confirmed Monday, it was manufactured February the 19th. They sent us a picture of the paperwork to prove that. We called back Monday. On February the 26th, it was transferred to an indoor storage facility at the Chrysler manufacturing base in Canada. We are now at the mercy of the Canadian government. All your railroads, spurs, tracks, and trains in Canada are owned by the government. And as if you've been watching news, you see all the boycotts that they got there. And also Chrysler has cut production on all Chrysler patrol vehicles. So our vehicle is sitting in a indoor storage facility in Canada right now. Once Canada Railroad picks it up, it will transfer to Ohio, where it will get on a CSX railroad, go to Nashville by truck to Columbia, and then here. He has assured us that we will pay for it this budget. But it may have shipped yesterday, or it may be shipped 4 weeks from yesterday. But as of Monday, it was sitting in an indoor storage facility in Canada. So if y'all want to give us some money to fly us up there, we'll go get it. But I'm kidding, that's where it's at.
Thanks, Tim. That's all here.
No, sir.
Okay. Also, I think Chief brought up about the gas. I think we're going to sit down with other department heads and try to work up a plan to try to do a certain percentage of cut our fuel consumption the rest of this budget year. I think it'd be advantageous to us, we see it coming out, to try to start doing that, try to cut some of that down. Does anyone else here have anything they'd like to add before we entertain a motion? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.